Hey friends, my name is Gina and I'm running for Vice President External. Before I jump right into things, I've kind of like to roadmap where I'm going with my speech because for those of you who know me, you know that I get really excited really easily, especially if it's about like things I'm really passionate about. So in order to keep myself on track, I came up with like the 3 E's, which is education, equity, and extension. Like I said in my platform, it's kind of like reduce, reuse, recycle, but for my totally achievable dreams of kings. Education is what brings us all together. I'm a firm believer that it's the starting point to a successful future, not only for us as students, but for our school, economy, society, and almost every other aspect of our world. Growing up as a daughter of both a teacher and an activist, education was encoded into my hardwiring as one of our country's most important values. But unfortunately, our government doesn't always see it this way. With a new government in place, now is the time more than ever for we as students to show that we are not going to just sit back and let them toy with our future. Over the past 20 years, tuition has increased on average by 137%, which is absolutely insane, and it's a direct result of cuts to funding and the privatization of our public education. Without a national post-secondary education plan or any federal oversight about how the schools are handling their supposed funding, education becomes more and more like a privilege to those wealthier backgrounds and more access to resources. I think it's ridiculous that I have friends who are working jobs, having to skip class to pay for the class that they're skipping. Makes absolutely no sense. I think it's ridiculous that there's a 2% funding cap for First Nations, Inuit, and Métis students. I think it's ridiculous that I have friends who are missing class simply because they can't get access to counseling or any mental health support whatsoever. Enough is enough. As EVP, I would be extremely involved in making sure all students' voices are heard and that we are paving our own pathway for an equitable, affordable post-secondary education. In order to do this, I will be vigorous in organizing and planning direct action plans, such as marches and walk-ins, that are focused on proving to those restrictive institutions and government members that not only is education a basic human right, but is also a smart investment. Not only is our education system incredibly flawed financially, but there are also so many things to change in order to make our educational institutions safe and equitable spaces for all. Firstly, if elected, I'll make it a priority to amplify the consent culture on our campus through workshops, campaigns, and by holding the government and our administrators accountable for their conduct in handling sexual assault. When I first came to King's, for Frosh Week especially, I remember being so impressed with all the no means no materials and conversations that were had, and I believe that those kind of campaigns should continue all throughout the year. Bills such as Bill 114, the Safer Universities and Colleges Act, need to be fought for if we want to see a change on our campus and in our society. In order to make King's and all educational institutions safe and equitable spaces, I would like to place an emphasis on implementing and supporting policies and campaigns focused on achieving equity for oppressed and underrepresented groups, such as Indigenous people, people of color, women, members of the LGBTQ+ community, and among so many other groups. This is also where the extension aspect of my goals as EVP come into play. By interacting, supporting, and showing solidarity with other student unions, movements, and union-based societies across our country, we can work to make our campuses inclusive and safe spaces. As EVP, I will be the liaison between King's and the Canadian Federation of Students, and I will work diligently to make sure that issues of our campus are heard on a provincial and national level, and that issues surrounding all Canadian students are made aware here. Before I came to King's, although I've always been somewhat of an activist and have always been super passionate when it comes to human rights, I never truly realized how undereducated I was in so many issues that affect our lives. This school and community have really opened my eyes to so many issues affecting all of us. I would love to have the opportunity to repay the King's community for all that they have taught me up to date. King's is already such a cool, inclusive social environment, and I can't wait to see the changes that all of the candidates are bringing forward to become a reality. Thank you.